Big difference. What more? He fell here. The detective indicated where the victim had fallen face down, his heart leaking into the snow. The killer rolled him over to cut his face. So he was dead first and not tortured this time, Jay said. He slipped on rubber gloves and squatted next to the body. The dead man's lacerated cheek revealed an almost full set of gold teeth. Blood matted his woolly hair to the snow, and his eyes were open, staring dully at what? His last conscious moment? Jay wanted to develop his retina, make a print, see what he last saw. Director Husarska pulled a pack of cigarettes out of her coat pocket. That morning she had shed her usual full-length fur for a shiny wet-look jacket that could not possibly have kept her warm. But perhaps, like Jay, she had been summoned to the crime scene at an awkward moment and had worn whatever was handy. Tapping out a cigarette, she slipped it between her lips, red like her car, and another rare spot of bright color in that blurry morning. She snapped open her lighter. Its blue flame danced atop the silver case. "He is Russian," she said, so flatly that Jay halfway expected her to poke the body with her toe, as she might something washed up on the beach. "What makes him Russian?" Jay asked. The policewoman sucked on her cigarette so hard he could almost taste the tobacco. "Look at his teeth," she replied, the wind snatching smoke from her mouth. "Only Russians use so much gold." The dead man's overcoat had fallen open, revealing a thinner jacket soaked in blood. Jay touched its flap. "May I?" he asked Detective Kulski. "Of course." Before he did, Jay paused for a last look at the undisturbed body. Director Husarska remarked, "The labels are removed. I thought the body had not been examined. It is only my conjecture. Or would you use the word guess?" "Guess," he replied. She smiled at the tease in his response. Jay folded the man's jacket back. Heavy with blood, it clung to the shirt. They all looked for a label and saw the clean cut in the lining where one had been cut away. Jay touched the razor-straight edge of what remained. The other victims' clothes had been cremated along with their bodies before Jay arrived, but the case files described how all the labels had been removed with a blade so sharp it never snagged a thread. Remembering that Detective Kulski had described the other courier's hands as soft, not calloused like a worker's hands, Jay lifted the dead man's right one by its wrist. Even in death it felt light, fragile, an old man's hand. He looked to see if the victim had hair in his ears, and he did. He's older than the others, almost 70, Jay estimated. "The Russians, they drink vodka, they look like this," Basha told him. "In Russia you can be 20 or 100 and you look like this. You don't like Russians, do you, Pani Husarska?" "It is not disliking them, Agent Porter. It is knowing them." "His wedding ring is missing," Jay remarked, noticing the paler band on the man's already pale fingers. Then he saw something else, a pronounced bump next to the man's little finger. He turned the hand to look at it and pressed it. It felt like the writer's bump he'd had through high school before he switched to an electric typewriter in college. He showed it to Kulski. "What would cause a bump like that?" The detective shrugged. "I don't know." Jay couldn't imagine a repetitive task that would create a callus in that spot. He lowered the man's arm to the ground, stood, and pulled off his rubber gloves. "Ask the pathologist about it. Will Dr. Nagorsky do the autopsy again?" "I can ask for him," Kulski said. "He is not always available." "It would be a good idea. In cases with multiple murders, often the same pathologist makes a connection we overlook." "I will guarantee that Dr.